And as you think about, imagine what that next step for you is after graduation. What are the 3 things that you want to do right away in your next position, your next step? And what are the 3 things that give you pause, make you nervous, that you're not sure if you know or are prepared for? So 3 things that you know you want to do in your next step, whatever your next job is, and then the 3 things that might give you pause.
3 things that I know I want to do in my next position. Definitely, and this is to the space and credit of dear Darrell Goodwin, having a supervisor that I can engage with in the capacity of this person's my supervisor, they can be a mentor and an advisor, and really that that hands-on level of how am I onboarding and experiencing something completely different and new for me. So that was really important to my grad citizenship, and it's something that I would like in my next position. Second, having a program or a project that I can really see from day 1 through it coming to fruition and finishing it. It's really important, just that ability to have my hands really in something that is really important to me. What that looks like or what that is, I'm not sure, but a project or a program where I can engage in that experience will be really important to me. And also a position where I'm not pigeonholed into one path or another, which gets back to what I was saying, the thing that's not in my portfolio. The being okay stepping away from something and be like, I'm not frozen in time in this experience or in this job or in an experience that's not allowing me to be a whole person, I think is really important. So not being stuck somewhere, like the 3 things that actually is what gives me pause. Interesting transition. Okay, so 3 things that would concern me is if it's a space where there's no mobility at all, that would concern me. If it's a space where where being honest or critical is something that's recommended, that's a red flag. It's to say, not to say that people should go around saying, oh, X, Y, and Z, everything needs to change, but being in a space where leadership is willing to hear the voices of staff members and make changes if that's what's best for a company culture or organizational culture. And third, I would say if there was a lack of professional development opportunities, just in general.
So we have thrown, or actually spoken about leadership constantly, and I want to know, after going through the program, which you're in the program, but you almost there, define your leadership style, and has it changed?
Back to C3, which talks about my leadership philosophy. So this is a paper that I wrote. It's about 12 pages long. If anybody wants to read it, it's very exciting. And it talks about theories around leadership and my personal experiences as a leader. And 2 pieces in that are really important that Antonio was asking about is my frame as a leader. I'm really invested in the human resources framework, and that's the value of people. So I've talked about that quite a bit, and just the importance of what it means for the people who are on your team. If you're only as strong as the team you're leading, and if there are flaws in that, then that's something that you really need to evaluate. So that's one part of it. Just really being cognizant of the people who are on the team and whether or not they're happy and productive and able to do their job. And then the other part of that is politics. So, and I think the word politics can be construed in a lot of different ways. I mean it in a positive way here. There are certain relationships and policies and procedures and hurdles to jump over to get work done, and understanding how to navigate through politics is really important. And that's something that I've definitely studied, focused on, and experienced. And that piece of relationship building through politics is also an element that I intentionally try to be good at, that I intentionally try to think about who are my allies, who are the people that I can work with and get things done, which connects to the human resources piece of just knowing people, understanding what people want and need in their work and in their experience and in their relationship with you, I think is really important. And a lot of things that I'm saying makes me think I would be good in development. Very boring.
Well, folks, we have officially about 5 minutes left, so if there are any burning questions in our very robust audience, now would be the time to ask.
I have a question. I don't know if everybody in here is Seattle University Jesuit educated. Could you talk about, because we know that here Jesuit discernment is like the center of everything we do. Could you talk about that? Did you come, I think we all come with that, but we may not realize what it is. Talk about your journey through that and how it's evolved and how it will impact you as you go out.
So this is a little bit of information about Seattle University and the core values here at the institution, as I know not everyone is super familiar with Seattle U. I would say was definitely raised in a space of religious tradition. Mom. So that definitely was a foundation since the time I was born. When I went to college, I think I became more intentional about my spirituality and my faith identity. And not that I don't think religion is important, because I do, but on an individual level, the space of being a spiritual person and being a person of faith, I think it was really significant. So, my prior many years before I came to, that's who I am as a person. So then coming into Seattle U, even though I'm not a Jesuit Catholic, can't be Jesuits, that's right. Even though I'm not Catholic, that piece of it didn't impede me from having a really full experience here and engaging in interfaith experiences as well. And I think something that I'm really invested in that's not my portfolio, because this is a paper I just recently wrote in one of my adult learning classes, is I seek out opportunities to have interfaith experiences because it roots me, it makes me stronger in my faith identity, which some people would say that's not their experience, which is totally fine, but for me, that's definitely been my experience. So being at Seattle University, even though I don't identify as a Catholic, has been a really strong space for me because it's a religiously affiliated institution, and I can think more intentionally around how do I integrate leadership, academics, and spiritual and faith identity on campus here. And student affairs by nature as a field is very kind of like aligned with the core principles of Jesuit tradition, which is very convenient. So.
Hi, Keisha. Keisha, you have, over the years that I've known you, actually actively sought out mentorship. And I think you come by mentoring also very natural. So when you think about your experience and as you will mentor your next mentee that may be thinking about following in the path, what will you share with them about what to expect or how to select based on your reflective experience of this?
That's a great question. Yesterday, I was doing an informational interview at the University of Washington with a woman who's a sociology professor, and just thinking about whether or not I want to pursue my doctorate degree in sociology. And a lot of this, of what the question you're asking me, really comes back to my image of how I engage in conversation with people to help them understand that they are in charge of what they're doing, that I can be in community and conversation with someone that I'm mentoring, but at the end of the day, their actions as an adult learner are that's the most significant thing that's going to influence what they're able to do in their life. So this woman that I was speaking with yesterday, she was talking about the importance of accountability, of having community of like-minded people who you have shared identity with, and being able to ask for help when you need it. And so those are like three elements from my conversation with her that I took away that I think are really important when you're engaging with someone else and helping them figure out or discern what they're going to do in their life, not pushing your own ideas or expectations onto them, but trying to have that space enough to like step back and listen to what the person's actually saying. I think I used to be more of a pushy mentor before I came to this program, and I probably still am pushy, but my time at CIU has definitely given me that pause that I was talking about, enough to let someone finish telling me a story before I was trying to problem solve, which I'm not saying I don't do that, but I try to listen to a whole story and a whole experience to let people come to their own resolutions about things, and think about my capacity as a mentor, as someone who is listening, who is engaged, someone who is a support system, and not the idea that someone is, like a mentor is directing you to make X, Y, and Z choices. This reminds me of a small story that I will share about Antonio right now. And just the idea, because Antonio is the first person I met who was a student affairs professional that I understood he was a student affairs professional, and kind of introduced me to this field. And I remember when I was an undergrad, Antonio kind of told me I had the essential spark of being a student affairs professional, which was right. But he encouraged me, and he was like, you should think about going into the program at Western, or pursuing your master's degree. And at the time when I was graduating and I was 21, I was like, I'm done with school. Right now, it is over. It is so over. And I had a fantastic space where I was at, where I then went to College Success Foundation and interviewed with Sarah and Ann and got a job working with CSF, which was great. And that practitioner space was great for me. But though I adore Antonio and he is amazing, I think that I am more affirmed in my decision to choose this profession and this master's program because I did it in the time that I thought was right, and I did it building the stepping blocks that I needed, and not necessarily because my mentor, who is a little bit older and wiser than me, because he told me I should I should pursue the master's degree, then and there. But what was important for me in my self-advocacy was that I understood I'm the person in charge of my future, and I can take pause and take my time getting into the program.
And with that, actually, we are right at time. So if you could join me in congratulating. And with that in mind, if you could also join her in celebrating maybe outside the room, but please keep in mind that there are other sessions happening. So celebrate quietly, please.
I went to one last year and there was like 10 people.
Also, if you are sticking around, wait, Keisha, don't go very fast. If you're sticking around, 204, which is straight down this hallway to the left.
Are we looking this way?
All this.
Good. Is it good? It's great.
Take the picture.